Okay, this video is the last one for the series of rebuild the Nissan Skyliner 32 GT gearbox. It's a little bit of a resume. I try to make it shorter and give you some suggestion to how to approach that kind of job. The job is not complicated. I mean, it's made by a lot of simple things, but those things has to be done, and you have to pay a lot of attention to the details. And I strongly recommend that you don't approach the job without having the print in your hand. That's my suggestion. The print, something like that, very useful. This is just something and amusing. Where you can find these kind of things. Well, you go on Google and you tap the name or the code name of your gearbox, and it's Fs5w71c PDF, and you're gonna find the document in a PDF. Then it's gonna tell you a lot of stuff about the gearbox. Again, remember then, for the gearbox that we are talking about, there are two different versions or more updated version. The PDF files, it will give you a print, again, something like that, that is probably about 80% correct with the one that you have in your Skyline. But there is nothing wrong with this. This is for another gearbox, same name, but applied to different vehicles. The differences will be around this area with the reverse engagement and all the leverages. Plus, you see this bearing? This is a ball bearing. In your Skyline, you're gonna have the one with the roller bearing. I strongly recommend to take those roller bearing and throw it away. Anyway, that is the consideration. As you can see, I take my print, I color it, color code it, yellow the bearings. Whenever you need, you do your preferences. The object and everything is very clear. You can go step by step through the process and taking it apart. What kind of tool do you need? Well, as I mentioned before in all the videos, you need a heat gun 100%. Because nothing is coming out without it. Number two, you need a puller, a good quality puller with a couple of bar range. I think my one goes up to 8 inches wide, and it's good. Then you're gonna need a couple of 3/8 rods, because one of the videos show then to insert back the input shaft into his own bearing. You need to push it in, and you need the 3/8 rod passing through the hole in the way to push it back in, together with the secondary shaft. Then you have to tap right here on the back. So another good tools that I use is small impact wrenches. Wireless, I'm using DeWalt's, and go right away. Use oil all the time, and temperature heat gun. Temperature reader, infrared reader, so you have an idea how much are you eating your bearings and your shaft. My one, everything came in and came out around 160, 180 F. And I'm considering that a pretty high limit to a high range of temperature. Find yourself a clean place, find yourself a lot of plastic bags where you can store your item every time you're removing it. Pay attention on those synchro rings, and everything is going to be okay. Don't lose the key, make a lot of pictures, color coding is free, stuff of that nature. When it's time to put it back, the gearbox, be careful for the snap ring. Never use the old snap ring. Do not try to replace those snap rings with the standard one that you find around, just because their thickness is classified. It means is specific. you better take every ring, every snap ring that you're taking out, take the micrometer or vernier, measure it and mark it, because so when you reorder it online, you can perfectly match the thickness, because different thickness for each snap ring are available out there. For the rest, don't exaggerate with the RTV. Remember, the more RTV you put on, the more thickness you create, and this can mess up shims, preload, and stuff like that. The seals, use caution tape and use caution tape. Use a caution and use the right tool to press it in. There are only two critical seals. One located, about here before the clutch, and there is another one at the end of the output shaft to retain the oil inside the casting. As I mentioned before, it will be a good thing to apply, sorry about that, right here. I insert on the casting, not drilling from the bottom or from the side, I got right here a temperature sensor. It's just a caprice, but I did it. Okay, this item here, very tricky, is for the selector of the reverse, so be careful when you take it out. You better use a lot of cautions. The rebuild kit is not perfectly the same of the one that you need for your Skyline. It's designed for this guy, it's not designed for the Skyline, so you will find probably for the fourth and the fifth gear, or third and fourth gear, I don't remember, in any way, in this area right here, you have to, where there is, here you go, the two inside, you have to reuse the old synchro rings. The one that comes with the rebuild kit are not good enough, because this area is different. When you open them up, you will see. If you need to have a reference, buy every single part instead of buy the kit, I strongly recommend to go to Part Soak. It's called PARTSOUQ. Is a Saudi Arabia based store where you can find all the prints and all the parts for your car, and they also give you some isometric view print of your assembly. You can easily buy also all the different thickness snap rings, bearings, whenever you need. Okay, that is my suggestion. Just have a good time. The video is a little longer, but I have to mention these things because I don't want gentlemen said, oh, look, Dave told me to do this, I have the print, I buy the kit, and now I'm opening the gearbox, there is something different. Yes, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be something different here. My recommendation is buy every single component separately from Part Soak. It's gonna cost you probably 25-30% more, but you are ready to go and safe if you don't feel good about that. Myself, I buy the kit. I buy the kit. I rebuild everything because my problem was not located right here. The synchro rings for these last selections were pretty good. I have a problem with the first and the second gear, and that solved my problem. All my bearings were shocked, and I replaced those bearings. This bearing here in the Skyline is a roller bearing. I don't agree with the roller bearing right here, for a simple reason. Then those kind of bearings are very picky, very contaminant sensitive. When ball bearing deep groove can take a lot of contamination, still running well when the other one doesn't. The cranky noise when I put the reverse in my car and push the clutch to disengage came from that bearing. The bearing was completely shot and full of contaminants for a previous owner, and this create a lot of problem, a lot of wear around. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm not doing any drifting, I'm not doing any crazy stuff. I'm taking these things and throw it away and replace the new one. Don't mess around with the RTV here on front. If you follow the procedure on the PDF file, there is enough information telling you what kind of shims and spacer you're gonna need behind this bearing right here, and what are your clearance right here, and everything else. Just go step by step. Okay. Oil, I'm using Redline. I think it's called MT90. Well, I've already drive the car for a couple hundred miles already, 175, and with the new clutch also. Look, I got zero issue, zero. I want to point out also another thing. I know many people will be upset about that, but I'm testing so far the XTD clutch stage 2. Is a cheap clutch. We'll see. So far so good. The pedal feel very good. It's soft, it's nice. It doesn't do anything. I'm still breaking it, so I don't know the final results. But I will let you know if I will recommend it or not. So far so good. Thank you for following those instructional video. Repeat, if you don't have an understanding of what is this, please do not approach the gearbox assembly. If you have an idea what is this, and you have a time and the tools, maybe my video will help you to unlock some questions and answer some bitter points that you may be gonna find later on. Don't use the hammer. Leave the hammer in the drawer. It's not necessary to use hammer to take off this thing. If you go step by step and you heat up your item with a single puller, everything is coming out. Sometimes it goes out by hands. When it was nice and clean, I heat them up. I took my thick working gloves. Look, the item came in nice and easy without having to push or pull. I don't even remember if I have to beat anything so far. Probably the only time when I was beating was this shaft when I put it in together with the second one. All right. So have a good time. I hope you don't have a lot of problems. Stay with the print, stay with the procedures, and take your time when you do your job, and don't leave your parts together with your wrenches. The parts stay on one side and the wrenches stay on the other side, and the dirty and the old parts stay on a different side too. So you're gonna have 3 spots. That's my suggestion. One for the new parts, one for the old parts, one for the wrenches. Don't take everything apart. Take one thing apart, one at a time, make picture notes and bag it. You'll see. Will be way better. Okay, well, enjoy, and I hope this is gonna help you. Have a good day. Bye bye.